The Sims team came out with 3 brand new kits, and that is the Golden Years, the Kitchen Clutter, and the Restoration Workshop. When I tell you guys, this might have been the best kits to drop lately, and I would love to know your opinions down below in the comments. They are on sale for $5 each as US dollars, and of course, if you guys are new here, what is up? My name is the Simian. My name is Yen. I play The Sims. Did you see what I did there? And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I cover all things sim news, simulation news, and overall just pack reviews as well. We're going to get into the very first one, and that is of course the Golden Years kit. Now, this kit came with 27 items, and a lot of people had things to say about it, but I'm going to get into my personal opinion. We do know that Creative Sim, when it comes down to elderly, has been a little bit lackluster, and unfortunately, that's how I feel a little bit about this Creative Sim. There are some items that I do like, but again, there are some that didn't make really sense to me. So again, we are going to start off with the hairs. Now, I do feel like the hairs were absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they didn't add any more hairs. Now, I do know that there is a couple that we have with a lot of packs, but I feel like this one was a great example to bring in more hairs for the elderly. That is just my personal opinion. I do think that yes, they do have a couple of the, bald aspects of, the men, but I think for the women, they could have added a couple of more ideas such as hair rollers and things like that. Personally, for me, I do feel like the Creative Sim was missing things like canes. I feel like that would have been really cool to add. Walkers. Now, of course, not exactly, you can't use it. I do know that the Sims is very big on functionality and stating that, it does take some time for them to be able to do the mechanics when it comes down to things that they're going to use every day. But I do feel like walkers could have at least been in the built-in buy, but like maybe not functional. I don't know. Y'all let me know down below in the comments how y'all feel about that. We already have hearing aids, but I do see that they did add eyeglasses, but I do think it would have been cool to see, bifocal lenses and maybe some tint options, maybe some compression socks, some arm slings, braces, things that, just overall scream elderly. And of course, I would love to see, and I know this is basically based on Creative Sim, but if they maybe put something on build and buy mode and did like neck pillows and like, I don't know, like back support things, just things that overall would be really, interesting as far as storytelling. I feel like oxygens and portable tanks would have been really cool to add as well. Now, I know that's a little bit deep, but again, this is a Creative Sim, so maybe if we got a game pack started by elderly, but you guys let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about this. But I do say I love the full body outfits. I love the men's sleepwear that they've chosen, and I do think that some of this looks like a little bit of an add-on that was supposed to be in the whole business and hobbies expansion pack. But y'all let me know down below in the comments how y'all feel about that, because some of this looks like a little bit of work outfits, and I just feel like it just looks like it should have been, with the whole pottery vibe. Again, I'm really disappointed that there wasn't any shoes. It's just something that they should have definitely had. I like the cardigans, the cozy sweaters, the vibes. One of my favorite outfits definitely has to be the binoculars, where they look like they're going sightseeing. I feel like that's a really cute outfit to me. But overall, it did what it needed to do. At the end of the day, this is a kit. So again, 27 items is considered a lot in this category, but I would have loved to see something a little different. I do love the fanny pack idea, and especially like just the old school, oh, I'm going to go on a run. And I do think that you can do a lot of storytelling, especially if your Sims maybe went to like Foxbury or whichever school that your Sims went to, and they can just rep their hometown and their home school that they love so much. And on a scale of 1 to 10 with the Creative Sim, of course, there is nothing for, toddlers, children's, and infants. I'm going to rate this a solid 5. I think there could have been more, and although some of the items were nice, I feel like this could have just, I don't know, been a little bit of an update. I know y'all always get on me for that, but I do genuinely feel like a lot of the kits most of the time could have been base game updates, but I do know that it's a friendly way for, simmers just to get packs that they don't have to buy expansion packs for. Y'all let me know down below in the comments how you guys feel about that, but that is my solid rating. Moving on to the very next one, it's going to be the Kitchen Clutter. Now, I will be honest, y'all, this is my favorite hands down. 31 items, and every single item is completely worth it. Shout out to this creator, because I definitely use this house from the gallery. But we're going to get into a couple of items, and this little caddy right here is so cute. Now, although it's not as functional as I would have liked it to be, I do feel like it does play a role depending on how your Sims are in the kitchen. I do love these little storage boxes. I feel like the textures were blowing my mind a little bit, because I was like, okay, are they adding a little bit of wannabe alpha inside the game? And then the cutting board, y'all, the detail, I was surprised that the Sims even did something like this, because we know the Sims back in, when it it first launched versus The Sims Now would have not done this. The detail that they were adding, especially with the sponges in the sink, the dishes in the sink, there's like little things here and there. Of course, I love different colors and changes that they've used, and it wasn't just the whole black, white, or gray option, but there was different options as well that I was very surprised and shocked that they used. I love the fact that this caddy was able to go ahead and snap, that you could put things on, and this backsplash tile. Now, we've all seen this on Amazon where you can buy this, especially on TikTok. I don't know if y'all are on TikTok, but this whole thing where you can just add sticks to the wall, so you can like make a story like, oh yeah, I'm putting stickers on the wall, and you know, I'm doing redecorating. I think this is really good for apartments, especially if you have that storytelling where you don't want to like make holes in the wall, or you know, it's a rental. I feel like you can do storytelling with this. Perfect opportunity. And I love these posters, every single one of these. I think this is very cute, especially if you're like owning a cafe or your Sims is just really into like food and the culinary. I feel like this will be a really nice touch to add. And of course, the cereal, y'all, I was so shocked, and we're gonna look at this a little bit later, but the cereal is functional. And not only that, but they've given you options, y'all. Like, it could be spilled or not spilled. I know this is the bare minimum. I'm excited about cereal having options on whether it's spilled or not, but you know, that's what we've come to in The Sims, unfortunately. But I will say that this is probably one of my favorite items in the game. And then we have some mittens, some coffees to the side, and then some stackable dishes that will look so good by your sinks, depending if you guys want that kind of messy look or lived in. I personally love that for me. And of course, we have this like little caddy where, you know, it's like cleaner sections where, you know, where you're cleaning things and, you know, things that need to be done. Again, this is more so focused on all things kitchen, so they did end up adding some clutter of like maybe your Sims is getting ready to bake cookies, and just overall, y'all, they did their thing on this one. They did their big one. I absolutely love this kit, and they have so many different options of what you wanted. My top two items is definitely like the cereal box and the refrigerator, but I do love this like little fruit stand that they did end up giving into when they did this create a Sim. I felt like this was such a nice touch, and guys, most of this is all functional. I was completely shocked when I found that out, because we do know the Sims, when it comes down to kits, have been very lackluster when it comes down to making things functional, because again, they just overall, I don't know what it is, but a lot of the time the kits are not functional. But this time around it is, and I absolutely love the fact that the refrigerator looks so good and so lived in, and it definitely looks like kids actually live there. I do love this little tote bag. It's different colors, but you can actually purchase groceries in there, which I am totally thrilled about, because again, all it does is just add to the grocery bag inventory. So you just go back into your grocery bag, go to open, and boom, the food is in there. And not only that, but you can make it even look more lived in by dragging it out onto the counters, like, oh, she's about to cook, or he, or you know, they're making things for their family. And I just think this is such a nice touch. And as well as this little lunch box for the children, it's usable. You can actually use this. I love this. You can put this in the side of their inventory and they'll be able to use it. The cereal box is functional. I know this is like bare minimum stuff, y'all, but when I tell y'all, I was kind of shocked that literally 90% of this, you know, was functional. And I was a little shocked. I was like, I cannot believe the Sims is doing stuff like this. And I just love all of the different textures. We have like the pickled onions and the cereal boxes and, you know, the jars filled with food. I definitely think they did their big one. And personally for me, I will say on a scale 1 to 10, when it comes down to this kitchen clutter, I'm going to rate it a solid 8. I know that is really, really high for Yen to be rating, but that is my opinion. Y'all let me know down below in the comments. And we're going to move into the very last one, which is the restoration workshop. This is all about basically, you know, building and along those lines. Shout out to this creator, because I use this house, and if you guys want, y'all can just stop and do a little screenshot. So if you guys want this house as well. But again, I do love a lot of this stuff, but I will say I'm not the biggest fan, because this is kind of not my niche. But of course, I am a review channel, so I'm gonna get it so I can show you guys my opinions on it. But I feel like it's just not up my alley. But I do feel like if you are into the whole garage vibe and your Sims is like, you know, very hands-on, the handiness scale is something that your Sims is really trying to work on. And if you're wanting to be Delulu and maybe they're wanting to open up their own workshop or their car shop one day, this is the perfect vibe for you. I feel like this is something that the Sims team needed a long time ago with our Sims, especially when it came down to storytelling. I feel like a lot of this over time is going to be great with Get to Work, but again, we need more cross-pack compatibility, excuse me. And I love like the little messes on the floor. I feel like that adds such a nice touch. There's different textures that you can do, so depending on what your Sims is interested in, you can design it that way. And then there are so many different ways to be able to just overall decorate. There are a lot of options on whether or not if you want like kind of like the clean look versus like it looks more lived in and dirty and gritty, and just overall looks like it definitely has been used. I do love the industrial industrial part of it, because I feel like a lot of simmers are into this. I do love the stackable boxes, and if you look through each one and do different swatches, you can see that they have their own styles, and it looks like things are inside the boxes. Of course, you can do the little Delulu stories like, oh, this is for this and this is for that. And of course, yo, the detail that they've been using on these kits, I'm surprised this is not a collab. They have been working on the details, even like the little plug signs. I love that. And of course, we have some different types of, like, you know, making it look a little bit more just overall rusty. And I just love the swatches, and I love that they gave us a clean look versus the dirty look, and like makes it look like it's more lived in. So maybe over time you can switch the swatches out depending on how long the Sims have actually lived there. I feel like nothing was technically missing from this pack, because this is not something that was, you know, I don't want to say wanted by the community. This was something that was created by the Sims team. So to me, this is nothing like, oh, this should have been in this pack. I feel like this did exactly what it needed to do. And honestly, I'm like, on a scale 1 to 10, this is not my niche, or I could be a little bit biased, but I'm going to rate this a solid 5. I don't think there's anything special about it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. I feel like it did exactly what it needed to do, and that's my personal opinion. But with that all being said, y'all let me know down below in the comments how y'all feel about that. And whether you're a silent viewer, you like my videos, you share my videos, or you comment my videos, at the end of the day, you still showed me some love, and for that, I thank you. I will see you guys all in the very next video. Let me know if you guys are getting any of these kits. Bye.